In its early years, what is now Toronto Pearson International Airport was known as the Malton Airport. Established in 1937, it was built by the Toronto Harbour Commission and was originally intended to serve as an alternate airfield to the downtown Toronto Island Airport. Pearson instead became the primary airport for the Greater Toronto Area and the entire Golden Horseshoe region. Today, Toronto Pearson is the largest and busiest airport in Canada and is among the busiest airports in the world. 1937 to 1946 construction Trans-Canada Airlines was expected to begin operations in 1937, and the Government of Canada wanted to build an airport to serve Toronto. In November 1936, Toronto City Council formed an advisory airport committee to advise on where to build a municipal airport. The committee proposed several locations, and of these two were approved by the Government of Canada, which agreed to fund 1/4 of the project. The two sites were the Toronto Islands and Malton, northwest of Toronto. A seaplane and land airport would be built at the island, and an auxiliary field was to be built at Malton. After 2 days of debate, City Council voted 14-7 to approve the construction of both airports. Agreements were drawn up for a total purchase of 570.9 hectares, and several farmers sold lots ranging in size from 20 to 80 hectares. The Chapman Farmhouse was the first office and airport terminal. The construction of the airfield would result in the burial of Silver Creek, one of many creeks in the area that connected to Etobicoke Creek. The second terminal, a standard wood frame building, was built in 1938. The airport at the time covered 170 hectares with full lighting, radio, weather reporting equipment, 2 hard surface runways, and 1 grass landing strip. The first landing at Malton was an American Airlines DC-3 on August 29, 1938. The first scheduled passenger flight to Malton Airport was a Trans-Canada Airlines DC-3 that landed on August 29, 1939. World War II. From June 1940 to July 1942, during the Second World War, the British Commonwealth Air Training Plan operated No. 1 Elementary Service Flying School. From 1940 to 1945, No. 1 Air Observer School also operated at Malton Airport. Aeronautical Inspection Directorate's Inspector School was also based at Malton to overlook aircraft production and the training schools. During the World War II, BCATP built 6 hangars, drill hall and several H-huts and administrative buildings to support the training program. The 2 BCATP schools flew Avro Anson and de Havilland Tiger Moth during their time at Malton. After the war, No. 10 Aeronautical Inspection District occupied the training school facilities with Veterans Affairs utilizing the huts. The RCAF left Malton in 1946 and the buildings later demolished as the airport expanded. 1946 to 1958 initial growth. A third TCA terminal was built to the western side of Second Wood Frame Terminal in 1949. It could handle 400,000 passengers per year and had an observation deck on the roof. In front of the old terminal was a set of stairs leading to a ramp to allow visitors to access the rooftop observation deck. Further expansion saw the expropriation of land near the hamlet of Elmbank. The runways were 5/23, a 3,368 meters runway fighter from the Avro Canada plant, 14/32, a 3,498 meters runway, and 10/28, a 2,263 meters runway that now is a taxiway. U.S. Border preclearance. Preclearance was pioneered at Pearson in 1952 as a convenience to allow it to connect as a domestic airport to the many smaller airports in the United States that at the time lacked customs and immigration facilities. It was at first a service performed by U.S. customs agents at the gate. U.S. federal government concerns over smuggling between pre-cleared and non-cleared passengers at Toronto International nearly ended the program in the 1970s, until a compromise was reached that called for segregated facilities. Today, Pearson handles 8 million passengers through its U.S. customs and immigration pre-clearance facilities per year, which is roughly 1/4 of all passenger traffic at the airport. 1958 to 1996 Transport Canada Management. In November 1958, the municipal government of Toronto sold the airport to the federal government to be managed by the Department of Transport. In 1960, it was renamed Toronto International Airport. The 1939 and 1949 addition were torn down in 1964 with the area developed for Air Canada's hangar, with the terminal site now occupied by the Vista Cargo Centres. Aeroquay 1 and Terminal 2. The third, TCA, terminal was demolished in the late 1960s and replaced by the Aeroquay 1 terminal building, which was built further south of the original site along Airport Road. Aeroquay 1 had a square central structure housing ticketing and baggage facilities topped by a parking garage with about 8 levels and ringed by a 2-story passenger concourse leading to the gates. It was designed by John B. Parkin, with construction taking place between 1957 and 1964. Aeroquay 1 was officially opened on February 28, 1964 by Prime Minister Lester B. Pearson. Considered state-of-the-art in the 1960s, the original Terminal 1 became overloaded by the early 1970s. Terminal 2 opened as a passenger airline terminal on June 15, 1972. Initially, it served only charter airlines, but it became the hub for Air Canada passenger flights on April 29, 1973. While a legend suggests that Terminal 2 was originally intended as a freight terminal, this was not the case. The legend may have stemmed from the fact that a cargo facility was used as a temporary passenger terminal while waiting for completion of the new terminal. Terminal 2 had a facility for United States border preclearance and handled both domestic and international trans-border traffic. Domestic traffic was moved to the new Terminal 1 when it became operational, leaving Terminal 2 to handle international traffic to the United States for Air Canada and its Star Alliance partner United Airlines. A passenger tunnel with moving walkways at the northwest corner of Terminal 2 connected it with Terminal 1. The airport was renamed Lester B. Pearson International Airport in 1984, in honor of Lester B. Pearson, the 14th Prime Minister of Canada and recipient of the 1957 Nobel Peace Prize. Operationally, the airport is often referred to as Toronto Pearson. Airport Express Airporter service from 1979 to 1993. Grey Coach operated the Toronto Airport Express interurban bus service to Toronto Pearson International Airport. It ceased operations after the operator's sale to Greyhound Bus Lines of Canada. It was replaced by Pacific Western Airport Express. Terminal 3, which opened on February 21, 1991, was originally built to offset traffic from the former Airquay 1 and former Terminal 2. Terminal 3 was designed by B+H Architects and Scott Associates Architects Inc. The terminal, initially referred to as Trillium Terminal 3 inches or the Trillium Terminal, was originally built as a private venture and was the base of operations for the now defunct Canadian Airlines. 1996 Present GTAA management. In 1996, the Government of Canada outsourced airport operations in Canada to local authorities which would manage the airports on a self-sufficiency basis. The new Greater Toronto Airports Authority was formed to manage Toronto Pearson. Its first task was to develop a plan to finance and build new terminals to manage the growing number of passengers. In 1997, the GTAA purchased Terminal 3 and shortly thereafter began a $350 million Canadian dollars expansion. A team of coordinators known as T3rd oversaw the redevelopment and expansion of the terminal. Terminal 1. The GTAA initiated a program to build a new Terminal 1 to replace both Airquay 1 and Terminal 2. The new terminal, costing $4.4 billion, was a joint venture of Skidmore, Owings & Merrill, Adamson Associates, and Moshe Safdie Associates. The project began in 1999 and was described as Canada's largest construction project. The Infield Terminal was built to handle traffic displaced during the development and construction of the new Terminal 1. Its gates were opened in 2002 and 2003, and a first-class lounge was opened in 2005. When it was in regular use, passengers were transported by bus between Terminal 1 and the IFT to reach their gates. After its initial closure, the Infield Terminal has been frequently used as a location to film major motion pictures and television productions. Airquay 1 ceased operations on April 5, 2004, on the completion of the first phase of the new Terminal 1. Airquay 1 was subsequently demolished to facilitate expansion of the new Terminal 1. Terminal 3 Pier C expansion was completed in 2004. Expansion of Terminal 3 continued with the opening of the East Processor Extension in June 2006, adding 40 check-in counters, new retail space, additional secure, hold screening, for baggage, and a huge picture window that offers one of the most convenient apron viewing locations at the airport. This phase of the expansion also included improved Canada border services and a more open arrivals hall. Phase 2 of the EPE was completed in 2007 and includes larger security screening areas and additional international baggage claim areas, while the West Processor expansion shell was completed in early 2008. Terminal 2 saw its last day in operation as a passenger terminal January 29, 2007. The following day, Airlines moved to the newly completed Pier F, or Hammerhead Pier at the current Terminal 1. Demolition of Terminal 2 began in April 2007 and concluded in November 2008. Airfield Upgrades. In order to accommodate its growing aircraft volume, substantial redevelopment of the airside and infield systems was done. Cargo facilities were added to the center of the airport between the parallel north-south runways in order to increase capabilities and to offset the loss of the cargo facilities that were removed for the current terminal buildings. 2 runways were built to increase the number of aircraft that Toronto Pearson could process. A north-south runway, 15R, 33L, was added and completed in 1997. Another east-west runway, 06R, 24L, was completed in 2002. Operation Yellow Ribbon. During the September 11 attacks in 2001, Toronto Pearson International Airport played a role in Operation Yellow Ribbon. It received 14 of the diverted international flights that were destined for the United States after the closure of U.S. airspace. Recent developments. The continued increase of air traffic at Toronto Pearson resulted in a 2013 decision by Transport Canada to proceed with the planning and construction of Toronto Pickering International Airport, which would be approximately 50 kilometers east of Toronto Pearson and handle up to 11.9 million passengers per year by 2032 with its 3 runways. In December 2015, the Infield Terminal was upgraded and temporarily reopened to handle the Syrian refugees accepted and resettling in Canada. After the last government-chartered refugee flight arrived on February 29, 2016, the terminal was deactivated. In total, the Infield Terminal handled 56 refugee flights carrying 13,628 refugees. On December 15, 2015, Toronto Pearson reached the 40 million yearly passengers milestone. This was a first for any Canadian airport to achieve. In 2015, the new Union Pearson Express, Toronto Pearson's first airport rail link, was officially opened, connecting the airport to Union Station in downtown Toronto. The UP Express travels between Union and Pearson in 25 minutes, departing every 15 minutes, 7 days a week. When the service was launched, it was stated that UP is projected to carry 2.35 million passengers annually, and eliminate approximately 1.2 million car trips in the first year. From 1993 until 2014, the Toronto Airport Express was a privately operated airport shuttle bus service from the airport to downtown Toronto operated by Pacific Western Transportation. A one-way trip took approximately 45 to 90 minutes, depending on traffic. The service ceased operation on October 31, 2014 in conjunction with the opening of the Union Pearson Express.